I'm going with my wife or I'm going with my sister or my mom, do I spend time with them? Are we separated all the time? And so on and so forth. So in Medina, which where we land first, inshallah, is you have separate places for prayers, right? Where there's separate entrance. You don't really have access to each other. You pray in a certain place, you pray in a certain place, and then you kind of meet outside the masjid after prayers. And there's a lot of gates around, and usually what happens is you will point to yourself, okay, let's meet at gate 25, let's meet at this gate or that gate at this time after prayers, or you can just meet back in the hotel room or whatever it may be. So that's usually happening. Outside of the masjid, you're obviously able to walk around together, you're able to shop together, you're able to go buy food together. Some takeout restaurants will have a line for brothers and a line for sisters. What I've seen a lot of brothers do is that they'll send their sisters to buy food or their wives to buy food because the line for sisters is usually shorter. Or you can just kind of be a gentleman and you can stand in the guy's line and get food for both of you or whatever you like to do. There a lot of the sit-down restaurants have family spaces, so you'll be able to sit together in those places. But that's really how it is in Medina. A lot of times outside of the masjid, you're walking around together, you're shopping together, and so on and so forth. In Mecca, outside of time for prayers, you're pretty much together all the time. So like if you're inside the masjid and you want to sit next to each other to read the Quran, you want to make dua together, you want to make tawaf together, right? You're doing Umrah together. You can be walking right next to each other, you can hold hands. There shouldn't be any problems with that. But exactly at the time of prayers, you will have your own spaces and they have their own spaces, and then you meet up afterward. And that's really the only time you're separated in Mecca. And the same rule applies for restaurants and food and so on and so forth. You just have access to each other, and you can walk around, shop around together, and so on and so forth. Because I tell you, if you're going with your wife or you're going with your sister or your mom, you're going to shop a lot, right? Just be prepared for that. And you should. There's a lot of good things to buy there. There's a lot of really good prices that you're able to get a lot of the stuff for. And for a lot of our sisters, they don't really have access to those type of outfits outside of Muslim land, so they take advantage, and you should take advantage of that as well. You're gonna find a lot of really nice thawbs, the dates, and so on and so forth. So, but again, for those things, you are pretty much together all the time. As far as our rooms, it depends on what you prefer to do. So we have quad rooms where you basically are, if you're a guy with 3 other guys, or we have double rooms. We can do single and triple as well, but you have double rooms. So if you and your wife want to just stay together, you're able to accommodate for that as well. It's just a little bit more pricey because there's just the pricing. But other than that, you're able to stay together in the room with no problems. If you're going, let's say, with your sister and your mom, that's 3 people, you can get a triple room and you kind of sit together for that. So again, there's a lot of ways to work around it. But again, essentially, you have access to each other pretty much outside. A lot of the tours, they're together. We don't really have separated buses. Everybody stays together and you can sit next to each other and so on and so forth. So anyway, you're spending a lot of time together. It's just around the time of prayers, you're separated. And then in Medina, as long as you're inside the masjid, you also are separated. You're not able to be together because there's no spaces together inside the masjid that allows for both brothers and sisters to be together. They're usually separated. Hopes